Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Fantasy Football Expo podcast series. As always, I'm Bob Lung here at the Fantasy Football Expo. Got my last year's shirt on, my Chargers colors. Very excited about that. This year, we're going to be Browns colors. All right, all you Cleveland fans, there you go. You see the logo, you see it all there. But we're excited tonight for another one of our podcast series. We're going to introduce you to a really cool person with a really cool idea, and it's Jason Turner from CalledIt Games. Jason, thanks for coming on board here and having a little chat with us. How you doing? Tell us where you live. Just a little bit about you, Jason Turner, and we'll get into the CalledIt Games after that.
Thanks, Bob. Doing great. Thanks for having me on. A little about myself. So I'm in sunny Southern California, not too far from those Chargers.
Yeah, see, just right there, just like that. You probably have the same background I have. Just yours is real life and mine's not.
Sometimes when I go out to decide to take calls from the beach or something like that. But so a little about myself, been living down here in SoCal for about 8 years and grew up as a huge football fan. Didn't really have a team, honestly, growing up. That's one thing kind of interesting. I grew up as a little kid in Arizona. Back then, the Cardinals were not good, so they weren't anyone
in Arizona.
At the time. They were in Arizona when I was there. They were the Phoenix.
Oh, the Phoenix Cardinals, right? Yeah.
But moved around a little bit. Spent a lot of my more formidable years in Utah, and there it was just a lot of anything we could find on TV. So I have family that are fans from a lot of different places. My kids also range a little bit. My son's a 49ers fan. I got a father who's a Green Bay Packers fan. So that was a fun game this year for those two to kind of be rivals a little bit. But yeah.
All right. Well, Jason, I always kind of ask people, obviously we're here talking about the Fantasy Football Expo, 750 to 1,000 of our closest friends who all play fantasy football are going to be coming to Canton, Ohio. But tell me how you got started. I know you said obviously you're a football fan and all kinds of different teams because of where you lived and in your related family. Talk about who got you involved. What pulled you into initially into the fantasy football world?
Yeah, from the fantasy side, for the most part, it was work pull. So we this was, I don't know, 14, 15 years ago. We had some fantasy football leagues at one of the places I was employed at. And knowing I was into football, I got invited to participate in that. And ultimately have participated in some type of a league for most years since then, sometimes multiple, and have always just found it fascinating. It's an interesting way to add more enjoyment and excitement to watching football and to having something to root for, kind of no matter who's playing or what's happening on the TV in most cases. So that's kind of where I got into fantasy from, and have had a lot of different ideas about fantasy and just those types of games and stuff, which is where I ended up where I'm at today with some of the new things I'm working on. But
love it. So
love the place that fantasy takes in the fans arena. I think it's a huge benefit to those that enjoy the sport, and it's a huge benefit to just the overall excitement that can come out of sports being part of your life to some extent.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that story. I mean, that's just, a lot of people just, like you said, you're a fan, NFL fan first, and then this thing comes along and you kind of just get pulled into it. Next thing you know, you're playing way too many leagues. But so Jason, tell us about CalledIt Games, what it does, and how that fantasy football love and admiration brought you to this point to create CalledIt Games. Explain what it is to everybody, what, how they can get involved yet, or what they can in the future. So tell us about CalledIt Games.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm super excited about. It goes back honestly to when I was a little kid, before I ever knew anything about fantasy. There was this, I don't know if it's really called a board game, but a game that Hasbro had out when this is 90s, when it was called Armchair Quarterback, and it was ultimately a way for you to watch a game, and you have those little pads that you write on, and then you pull up the thing.
Right.
From the magnet, right? But the intent was you would try to guess what was going to happen next on the field. You basically make a play call, and And then you had very little time to assess what you got correctly and score yourself and record your score and then move on to the next thing. It wasn't very easy to do, but it was something I did with my brothers and my father a lot when I was growing up. Fast forward many, many years, and I'm participating in fantasy football. I'm enjoying that. There's some elements I didn't enjoy, some of that just being the fact that you're locked into a roster. You don't get to make changes throughout a game in most cases. So if a player gets hurt or doesn't perform well or something else, you're just kind of hurt by that. And thinking back to that game I played as a kid, I career-wise got into product management and software development. And so I started thinking about the fact that, with the type of things I'm building anyway, this is something I could probably build through technology and provide a way for people to do just that thing I did as a kid, which is while watching a game live, make those play predictions, have that do some automatic scoring, allow for competition between friends and family, and kind of provide that board game style experience I had, but in more of a technical form on an app. And so started thinking through this about 7 years ago. Ultimately locked up some domain names, started putting business plans together, but it took a little while with COVID and just life in general to really find some partners that I could work with from a development perspective. And so this last year, we finally built the first version of CalledIt Games, which we did launch publicly. You can get it on the App Store and Google Play Store right now. That was really a public beta of validating that concept. So it allowed for people to join games that we created publicly, just free for all type scenario, with no cap on the number of attendees or participants, or to create a private game with just friends and family, and while watching a live NFL game, predict what was going to happen on the field next. And we went a little bit further than just the typical, is it a run or a pass, which there was a competing product in the market, but by the time we launched that was doing that. We went a little bit further than that, allowing people to choose not just what type of play is going to happen, but what the outcomes are going to be. And this is ultimately based on your understanding of your coach for the team that you love and watch the most, those players on the field, what that defense formation looks like, and ultimately making those decisions of, it's going to be a run, but it won't just be a run. They're going to get 3 to 5 yards on this run, which will actually give them a first down because of where they're sitting. And so you can call those things in the app.
Cool.
And just choosing that it was going to be a run.
I don't know. So where you used to live, did they have BW3s restaurants?
BW3s.
Big Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah. And there used to be some type of a live trivia thing that you could do in
That's what I was just going to bring up. Is they used to have a game called QB1 that you played on this little pad that also did trivia stuff too. But during NFL games, you could actually predict, and it was very simple, like pass left, pass right, pass center, run, whatever. But very in the basic sense. Kind of what you're doing now, but yours is a little more sophisticated, and obviously you can do it on your phone. You don't even have to go to a VW3 to do it. But and as soon as you told me about it, I'm like, that's QB1. That's awesome. I love that game. I used to do it all the time. So
there's been different iterations of those trying to accomplish it. I think that the big challenge that everyone tends to run into when doing this from a at-home perspective is there's always a delay in what people are seeing on the TV versus what's happening on the field. And that's something you have to solve for. And we did come up with a proprietary technology solution this year that allows for us to solve for that. Not perfect, and then it's definitely something we still have to iterate on, but it's working pretty well and worked well through our beta. We were able to create some partnerships as well coming out of this year that'll allow us to improve that even more for this coming season. So we're excited about how that's going to play out, and ultimately allows you to, whether it's at home and you're all in the same place watching on the same TV, or friends in 15 different locations, doesn't really matter. You can all have the same kind of fair play experience and compete against your buddies. Something we're kind of excited for. This year we get to expand that. Last year we really could only support one game a week because we were live at the games, and I was doing a lot of travel. It was not the worst job in the world to go to football games every week.
Yeah, twist my arm. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, horrible, right? But it definitely limits how much we can do and how much we can support. So this year we've been able to negotiate some different data rights and streaming elements that allow us to support all the games without needing to put anyone in the stadium, which allows us to focus our marketing efforts a little bit differently than last year. So
awesome. Now, I assume it's only for NFL at this point, correct?
That's correct. Only for NFL at this point. We'd love to expand to other sports. There's certainly elements that are unique to football that make it exciting for this type of a sport or type of a game.
I totally get that.
College football would be another really great segue that we'll look into in the near future. And then there's baseball and a few other sports that are slow enough in between the action that you could do something like this. It would be much harder for a nonstop sport like soccer.
Yeah, soccer, hockey, that's not going to happen.
Really hard to do that. It would have to be very different style. So maybe someday there'll be something like that. But for what we want to accomplish, this is really the way to do it. Is to focus on those sports that I do watch the most, which is football, and two, provides just I think the most exciting competition level within that. The fun aspect here is it's not just about and what you'll see when we kind of relaunch before this next season this year is it's not just about making your play calls and getting that right or wrong, which is the highest element, but there's going to be other elements of gameplay that we're incorporating that make it more of a true competitive gaming experience. We have integrations with a 3D avatar company that's portable across thousands of different companies. So you can have a 3D avatar for the VR world if you wanted to, that you can create within our game, and that'll have the option to get different skins on it or emotes and the whole lot we'll be able to incorporate with that, as well as all the badging and challenges and different trophies and things we can award within the game. But aside from that, we're also integrating more live competitive elements where as a player, you'll be able to burn some of the tokens that you either win or purchase to take other actions within the game. And some of those actions might be to freeze one of your buddies, for instance, for a play so they can't get their points. Or to call a timeout and everyone's frozen while you go take 2 minutes to go get a drink or something in the other room. But just things that add more of the competitive gameplay style on top of the traditional making a play choice type scenario where there's a few things out there that do that. So creates a real competitive element. I love about this is it's something that's very complementary to the fan base of fantasy football, people that like to watch the sport and understand the sport. And while fantasy gives a great way to review rosters and understand stats and kind of make those selections, this is a great way then while the game is running to also participate in something that's real-time live action and doesn't in any way detract from your ability to also be a fantastic fantasy player.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's a great idea. I know when we talked about it, I was just like, yep, I love this idea. Definitely love this idea. So you're coming to your first expo. Tell the folks, how did you find out about the Fantasy Football Expo? What intrigued you to be a part of this event this year?
Yep. So getting involved in the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association, I started attending conferences this year. Got the chance to see Bob at one of the conferences and ultimately learn about the Fantasy Football Expo. I wasn't aware of it, honestly. Okay. But looking into it, it seemed like one, just a really fun place to be, right by the NFL Hall of Fame going on over there in Canton, Ohio, and two, a great fan base for us to kind of talk to. Like I said, we did launch a beta this last year, but ultimately that's still fairly limited. There were certain regions that heard about the game, and we got a couple hundred players, a couple hundred downloads, a small subset, but we learned what we could there. we want to really grow our experience, and we think that fantasy football fans are a great customer base for that. And what better place than to go somewhere where they're fanatical about that type of sport?
Absolutely.
And, people willing to want to pay money and come participate in a conference about fantasy football are going to look for opportunities to kind of grow that experience. And so it just seemed like somewhere that made sense for us to be. And I think it's going to be really exciting. I looked at some of the videos from past shows, and there's a lot of really good participants, a lot of good sponsors there. And I think the content's going to be great for anyone that's coming to the show. So
what I think I like best about your product, and especially combining it here with the expo, is that we have basically two subsets. We have content creators, we have fans. Now, I say we're all fans of each other, so it's all fans. But in both sense, you've got the people, the fans who are going to be the users a lot, and you want those folks to try your product out and know about your product. But on the content creator side, here's a way that you can partner with these content creators to help them promote your game on their website or in our podcast, or, so it's kind of the best of both worlds for a product like yours, because it really plays into both genres very, very well. Wow. So yeah, definitely really looking forward to it. I think it's going to go over really, really well. And that's why we're doing this podcast now, so folks know about CalledIt Games, have the app downloaded, ready to go for this upcoming season, and try it out and check it all out. Ask you questions when they come and see you. Now they have a name to the face. They know who Jason Turner is, what he looks like, and so it'll be that much easier. So we're really excited about that. Tell the folks about you coming, and what should we expect to see at your booth, and what kind of fun things will you be promoting, showing, giving away, whatever the case may be, at your booth when they come to the expo in August.
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish I had a better answer for it, honestly. Certainly, we're looking into what that could be. From our side, we'd like to have some type of a simulated version of our game available to actually play at the booth. So that's our goal, is to have the ability for people to come to the booth and be able to participate in some type of a live playing of our game while watching either a replay or some type of another version of a game on a TV there.
Hey, Jason, let me quickly interrupt you. Will your thing be working for exhibition games at that time of year, or no?
We will have the preseason games in our.
Here's why I bring it up. Usually at the Friday night party, there's a 100-foot TV screen at the venue that we're at. It's outdoors. And there's always a game on. Last couple of years, we've gotten lucky. There's been a Browns exhibition game on the screen. So if that works out, hopefully we can we could just do it right there at the event and go, hey, everybody, get your CalledIt Games app and let's start playing and see who
that'd
wins.
Be great.
So I hope that works out. I hope there's at least a game on. It'd be cool. It's the Browns, but even just any game should be on that Friday night usually, that we can watch it on the big screen. So we'll definitely have to try that out. We'll be in touch and talk about that as we get closer to the event and the exhibition season schedule gets released, dates, times, and that. And we'll hopefully be able to play a little CalledIt Games at the Friday night party. That'd be cool.
That'd be great. We'll also be looking to probably give out some additional tokens and gaming elements within our game for those that come to the show, download it. They'll be able to get some free stuff that they can use in that game throughout the year to compete against their buddies, give themselves a little bit of a leg up to freeze that buddy's play, or steal somebody's play call from them, or just call an audible. That's the fun thing about the real time thing, is just like you would playing football, calling audibles. You can actually call audibles in our game to make a play change if you see the formation change, or they call an audible on the field. So cool. Those are fun things that we'll be able to do, and hopefully be able to give away some of those elements as well at the show.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Jason, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being on here. Really looking forward to meeting you again in person in August, and everybody else to meet you too, and trying out the CalledIt Games app at the actual expo. To everybody where they can find everything related to CalledIt Games at this point, and then we'll take it out from there.
Yep. So you can go to CalledItGames.com, and we have everything up on our website. You can also search up CalledIt Games in either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Download the app from there as well.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Jason, for being a part of tonight's show. And everybody is always on Bob Lung with the Fantasy Football Expo. If you haven't got your tickets yet, folks, don't forget, as of April 1st, price goes up $10. So grab your VIP packages now for only $75 at thefantasyfootballexpo.com. So for Jason Turner, I'm Bob Lung. Everybody take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.